Good morning and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Strength Coach Claire. I am a strength and powerlifting coach based here in the UK. I coach clients both in person and online, and the majority of my clients are women in their late 30s through to their late 50s who want to build strength and muscle. Some of them compete in powerlifting, some of them don't, but all of them are looking to become their strongest ever as they transition through midlife and beyond. I myself am also a competitive powerlifter, and this is episode 2 of my bulking series, my building series, and today I am going to film a workout for you, one of my training sessions. On a Tuesday, typically I do my secondary squat and quaternary bench and a few accessories, so it's not actually a super exciting session, but I wanted to film this one just so you can see that not every powerlifting session is going to be super exciting heavy singles on the competition lifts. Sometimes it is just kind of grunt work. In fact, that's what most training looks like. It's not always super social media ready. I don't know how busy it's gonna be in there. It is the middle of the day, so usually it's quite quiet at this time. Whether I'm gonna mic up and talk you through it or just film the stuff and then just put a voice over it, I haven't decided yet. Yeah, let's get in there and get on with it. Every session I do 10 minutes walk on the treadmill, which I'm currently doing. This is partly to get some steps in because I have a 10,000 a day step count target, but also just to get my hips and back and knees and just body feeling good and warm, because I'm getting old. I'm 34 now, and I just find if I actually put some time into just moving in a very human way before I start training, it really just helps me feel better when I get to it. The other thing I want to yap about whilst I am doing my walk is my pre-training nutrition. So obviously I am trying to build muscle at the moment, so I'm eating in a surplus. I have to get, on a training day, close to 400 grams of carbs in. I think it's like 380 grams of carbs or something. So this morning, it's 11 a.m. now. This morning when I woke up, I had my normal breakfast, which is overnight oats. It's a combination of slow digesting carbs, protein, fiber, fats, and I also have some fruit with that. And then a couple of hours later, I will have my pre-workout meal, which is a bagel with honey, and I also have usually 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and that's pretty much all my caffeine for the day. I try not to have caffeine after lunch, but I do try and get a good amount in before training. So I've just had a coffee on the drive here, so that's where we are at. I'm currently feeling okay, so this sort of walk gives me the opportunity to mentally feel out, where am I, how's my body feeling. I have, my right knee feels a bit funny. I've had this before when I've really been pushing the strength on squats, which I am this block. I've got high bar squats today. I'm going to do a little bit of knee flexion work in my warm-up, maybe on the leg curl or just some hamstring bridges, just to really warm up my hamstrings, because I do tend to find that helps with my knees, and it is something that I have been neglecting for the last few weeks, and that might be why my knee feels a bit funny. But other than that, I'm feeling okay. Actually, energy levels are good and my body feels fine, so yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, it is Coach Claire from the future here, and these are a few of the mobility drills that I do before every session, actually, just to help me get a feel for how we're doing, how my body's feeling. So this is the Spider-Man lunge with rotation. I call it the greatest stretch in the world. It helps to open up my hips, my T-spine, my shoulders, and all that good stuff. And then typically from there, I will move into this sort of lizard pose to runner's lunge, going back and forth between those two. Again, just helps open up my hip flexors, my hamstrings, feel for any tight spots, and just, yeah, get some blood flow to those areas which tend to be pretty tight for me typically. And then after those, I will go into some cat and cow, cat and camel, again, just sort of basic back mobilizer, really mobilizes my shoulders, gets my scapula moving as well. I like to look around, just twist side to side as well when I'm doing these, just to get things moving, open everything up. And then for me, it is some core activation. So just working on syncing up my breathing with my movement here with these dead bugs. The foam roller for me, just pushing actively into the foam roller with my wrists just helps switch on my core, switch on my midsection. So I should do a few of these. And then I do a few specific shoulder warm-up drills. So I have had some trouble with shoulder pain when I'm doing a lot of bench pressing. So I do warm them up really well to keep them healthy. I've just shown one of them here. So this is the bottoms up half kneeling kettlebell press that I do, just to, again, warm up the shoulders, work on that stability, get my shoulders moving, because when we're doing lots of bench pressing, they are in that very fixed, depressed position. And so counteracting that with a lot of movements like this, and I do wall slides and cable presses and things like that, just really helps keep them healthy and out of pain. So I think I said in the car it was quaternary or tertiary bench today, but it's actually secondary day. I was wrong about that. Which means we do have a heavy single. Now, I prescribed this as an RPE 10 single, but what I'm really aiming for here is not an all-out grind. I don't want to have the single leave me feeling beat up, but there shouldn't be another rep in the tank, basically. That's what we're aiming for. I think this will be somewhere between 80 and 85. I should get a good idea of that when I'm warming up. Typically, I'll take 80 as my last warm up and then decide where to go from there. When I do this, I do actually do this. I'm in week 4 of my program at the moment, of 5. So it is meant to be quite a hard, heavy week. But I do heavy singles, all random car horn. I do heavy singles all block long on bench. Like, I just need that exposure to high intensity to keep my bench ticking along. So I'm going to do all my warm up sets and see how we're feeling. One thing I always notice when I'm on this bench, I haven't benched on this bench at this gym for a while because I've been training at another gym. But the J hooks that the bar sits in are quite deep, and like, you have to do like half a rep to get them out. And I often end up clipping the front of the hook. So the lift out does tend to be a bit harder work on this bench than what I've been used to recently, or if I'm on like a proper competition bench. I could move it down a hole, but then I have to lift it even more up and out. So I'm just gonna leave it where it is for the trade-off. But during my warm-ups, I keep clipping it on this side, which is not ideal. So yeah, I just need to put a bit of extra care into the lift out than I normally might. Yes, this is 80. Let's see how this moves. This might be the top set. I hope it isn't, but we'll see. This should give me a good idea of how many more kilos I have given what I'm aiming for. That was pretty comfortable. I kind of want to watch it back before I decide on the top set, but I think 84 maybe might be it. Let's see. I'm pretty happy with that. I think that was about the right weight. It was hard. Definitely wasn't another rep, but you can see it was still smooth and clean, not grindy, didn't really hit a sticking point, and that's sort of what I'm going for with these heavy days. So yeah, happy with that. I now have 3 sets of 5 back downs, I think less 24% or something like that. So yeah, let's just get those done. It is Coach Claire from the future here again, and this is me warming up for squats in between my back down sets on bench. So I did these hamstring bridges, as I mentioned. I wanted to just warm up my hamstrings before squatting, just to keep my knees happy. I do these bridges, 2 sets of 6 with a 5-second hold on the last rep. On each side, and then we get on with squatting. So my squats today was my secondary squat day, and at the moment we're running high bar on secondary day, and we build to a top set of 5. I think the target RPE this day was between 7.5, and then we do 3 sets of 6 less 10% of whatever that top set was, and I was hoping for around about 115 for my top set, but it didn't quite happen. I think my squats were not feeling brilliant this day, but you can just see me go through my warm-ups here. So I start with the bar, then we loaded 25, so what was that, 65, because this is a 15 kilo bar. I like using a 15 kilo bar for my high bar squats. I think it's just the former Olympic weightlifter in me. Then we have to wrestle with my knee sleeves, which is obviously the hardest part of this whole session. And then my final warm up, I just put 15s on. So that was 95. And when I'm warming up for squats, even when my top set is a set of 5, I do sets of 5 for all my warm-ups. I think some people will just do like a single for the last warm-up just to get a feel for it. But for me, I find you have to do the correct number of reps if you want to gauge the RPE appropriately. So this is my final warm-up. The full set was a set of 5 at 95 kilos. Again, it's a 15 kilo bar, so if the bar mass doesn't make sense, that's why. And then I decided to go 112.5 in the end for my top set, rather than the 115, just based on how the warm-ups are feeling. I think 115 would have been a bit of an overreach. I did put my belt on for this top set, and then I'm just going to let this play. So this is 112.5 for 5 reps, high bar. I did feel at the time that that was maybe a little bit of an overshoot, but when I watch it back, I actually think it was probably about right, around about the 7.5. So I took 10% off. Well, I went down by 10 to 102.5, and then I have to do 3 sets of 6. And I despise doing sets of 6. Honestly, you get halfway through the set, you've already done 3 reps and you've still got 3 to go. It's just a nightmare. But it is what it is. My squat is going up at the moment. Like, my primary day has been feeling very strong. And unfortunately, my squat just responds well to lots of 5s and 6s. So that's what we've got to do. So that is my main lifts done. I now have 3 accessories. I've got sled drag, which is currently in use. So I'm going to do my triceps next. I have 3 straight sets of tricep pushdowns and then two drop sets. And then I have weighted planks to do as well. So I'm going to do the triceps now, and then hopefully the sled will free up, and then finish with my planks. So this is the tricep accessory work that I do. It's a tricep push down on the cable machine. And by this point, I have already done 2 straight sets, and then I have a rest, and then I do my 3rd set of 12. But after this set, I then do 2 additional drop sets. So I drop the pin on the cable machine and then do another 12 with minimal rest, and then I drop the pin again and do another 12. And it's just a way to add a bunch of volume and really intensify the set, basically. I absolutely loathe doing these. You can see halfway through the 2nd of the drop sets, I stop, shake everything out, and then go again. So it's supposed to be minimal rest, but I have a short rest when I change the pin, obviously, and then a little rest pause in the middle of the set just to allow me to keep going, because I think genuinely my arms would fall off otherwise. But yeah, this is what I do. I really despise doing these, so much so that I'm probably going to take them out in my next block and just put an AMRAP on the 3rd set instead. So just take the 3rd set to as many reps as possible rather than doing the drop set, because honestly, I hate these so much that I sometimes skip them. And because I coach myself, I have the powers to change things if I need to. So yeah, not the best. So I do sled once a week, 3 sets as an accessory. I think as a powerlifter, we spend so much time doing squat, bench, deadlift, like bilateral movements just with a barbell. And for me, something like the sled allows you to build intensity, gets your heart rate up, it gets a real burn going in the lower body. But it's a movement that is very, I don't like the word functional because I think it's overused, but it's very human. And it's sort of, you're moving one side of your body at a time, like if you're walking or running. It's just like a very natural way of moving. And for me to load through that type of movement, because you can load a sled quite heavy, you can really drive the intensity up. It just feels very good for my hips, knees, my back. And I use it a lot with my clients, particularly my master's clients as well, obviously to, again, just move in a human way, counteract a lot of the sort of bilateral sagittal plane lifting that we do as powerlifters, while still having a function. You can still really build full body strength, and also if you go a bit faster, do a few more reps, it really does get your heart rate up as well. So it's really good for your conditioning and just overall health. So I kind of hate it, but it is what it is. We have to do things we don't like sometimes. So yeah, I'm just going to pull this backwards all the way down the turf and back again. I only go backwards for me personally. I do use push sometimes for my clients and whatnot, but for me today, I'm just doing a backwards drag. This turf is very long. It's 16 meters, which for those who care about this sort of thing, High Rocks turf is 12.5 meters, so this is significantly longer than that. It's very long turf. So I really do get a burn going, particularly in my quads with this, and obviously my heart rate spikes as well. So let's just grit my teeth and get it done, I think. Shall I stay mic'd up so you can listen to my gasping and moaning and swearing? So I use handles instead of a waist belt, just because I feel like if I've got a waist belt on, I can't move my hips properly. But I use these sort of cuff handles that are just that just go around my wrist rather than something to grip, so that grip doesn't limit how much I'm able to do, basically. So yeah, I'm dilly-dallying. Let's get on. Nice, that wasn't too bad. So I'll get a little rest while I move the clip over. See, so at this point I'm like, this turf is so bloody long. Just feels like forever. And that's one set, so we're going to do that 2 more times. The last little bit of this session was some weight planks. I did 3 sets of 35 seconds, so I'm pushing the time up a little bit with a 20 kilo plate. I didn't record the full 35 seconds because I thought that would be really boring. So 3 sets of these to finish off the session. So that is that session all done. That took me just over 2 hours, which is pretty typical for me. It probably would have been a bit quicker if I wasn't filming everything. I think faffing about with my camera took a little bit of time, but also because we are getting towards like the last couple of weeks of the block, the sessions do take a little bit longer to get through. So bench was good. I think uneventful. I don't really have much to say about bench. It was as expected. I have struggled a little bit over the last few weeks to get momentum going with bench. I did have some really good momentum with it going into the bench only competition I did back in September, but then I got sick. I had a week off and I've struggled to really get it back since then, but it's ticking along. It's not brilliant, but it's not awful. Squats, I was a little bit disappointed with squats. I'm always surprised by how difficult this squat session feels for me, because it's like on paper not a super intense session, but it is fairly high volume. Like it's 4 sets, 1 set of 5 and 3 sets of 6, and I think it's always impacted by being the day after my primary deadlifts, which I do on day 1. This is day 2. So usually I do have a little bit of residual fatigue or soreness in my back and in my lower body generally, so that does impact my high bar squats a little bit. But having said that, the actual weight I did today was quite high in comparison to other recent blocks, like this week sort of 4, 5 secondary squat session. The structure is the same, but the weight, this is usually what I would hit in week 5 and it's week 4 currently. So provided I'm feeling good, I may be able to actually build on that next week, which will be quite nice. And also with my squats, I was just thinking how hard they were feeling, and then one of the other PTs in the gym came over to me and said, "Oh, your squats are looking great today." And it just makes you realize that you do tend to just be quite critical of yourself, and other people don't necessarily see the same things that you see. So that was quite nice. And then accessories were fine. Like I quite enjoyed that triceps drop set that I do at the end of my triceps. It's just the worst part of my week. Honestly, I hate it so much. But otherwise, like all good, like no issues there at all. So yeah, that was a pretty standard week 4, so 1 week before the end of the block for me, because I do 5-week blocks. Secondary squats and secondary bench day, pretty basic stuff. So I'm gonna wrap this vlog up here. I think the next one it'll be like a day in the life or a full day of eating, I think. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you've got anything you want to see as I go through the bulk and whatnot, then just let me know in the comments, or you can message me, drop me a follow on Instagram. I tend to, if you're interested in seeing my training, that's where I tend to share it all on my stories every session. So if you're interested in that, then it's worth giving me a follow there. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.